Once in a while, we all come across someone who inspires us. That inspiration comes not only from the work they are doing or the technology they're working on, but also from their attitude towards life. That inspiration comes from how they treat other people. Our next guest is one such inspiring person. After spending some time with him, I've kind of become his fan, and I'm pretty sure that after watching this interview, you would become his fan too. My next guest today is Kelsey Hightower. He's a great technologist and, more importantly, is a great human being. I wish we could clone and have more Kelseys, but for now we have only one. So let's talk to one and only one, Kelsey Hightower. How has open source impacted your life?
Honestly, when I was growing up, I didn't see a world where anyone in my family was in the tech world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I played sports. I just hung out as a kid. I didn't have an imagination that I would be in an industry like this at all. Mm-hmm. So now that I'm in an industry like this, it's kind of amazing that you kind of have this opportunity, right? Where I can also learn new things. I can also grow in skill set and then be rewarded for those things. So I think open source is like, you don't have to prove yourself first. I don't have to show some degree to say, hey, I belong. If I can contribute, whether it's documentation, talk, or source code, I'm accepted in this community. No one can validate that. No one can say, hey, you're not allowed to contribute because of X background. If you show up and you contribute, I don't think there's been a movement as impactful for me personally as like open source, right?
Can you recall a moment where you actually met somebody from the open source, just the way people are meeting you, and you met somebody from the open source world, or you saw a video, or you're like, oh yeah, this is...
Honestly, like people like Brian Grant, right? So a lot of people don't know who Brian Grant is. He works at Google. He's a principal engineer there. And what Brian does is he thinks very deeply about these problems and make sure that large systems work well together. When all the pieces are brought together, there's very hard distributed system problems. So I remember another person like Eric Toon also works at Google. Yeah. These are people from the board paper. So back then, no one had access to those kind of systems unless you worked at Google. So if you ever wanted to be at that level, you would read these research papers and you would ask yourself, like, what level do you have to be at in order to produce such a document in a way that teaches other people indirectly? So you put a lot of respect onto that. So then when you meet them for the first time, you sit with them for the first time, you eat dinner with them for the first time. And what's amazing though is when you get to express kind of your gratitude, but also when they express gratitude in things that you do, and you understand that people can actually be at this level and not be assholes. That to me is like when it really said, hey, I can actually operate in this space and be humble and focus on actually executing and not having this prima donna mindset about it.
And let's just, one last question would be that nowadays companies and, communities, they're working together. So how much culture is changing within the companies to kind of encourage, people who are doing open source? Because it's a totally different, mindset as used to be in the legacy.
I mean, any company of any size is probably going to have multiple cultures. Everyone talks about a single culture.
No, never.
I've never really seen it. No. I mean, I've seen culture change based on the pay scale.
Yes.
I've seen the culture change based on the position or what department you work on. And I think, honestly, at the end of the day, as an individual, you get to choose what culture you want to participate in. If you see something that doesn't align with your values, you can speak up against it. You can be on an outing with your coworkers and say, hey, I don't agree with that behavior. I won't participate. You can also take opportunities to correct bad behavior in public in a way that's actually benefiting people. So I think culture is what you define. So I have a set of things that I believe in, and I do those things regardless. And you try to teach people your culture. So I think if you get to a point where you're visible, it's one thing to kind of lead by example, but sometimes you got to explain it. Right? Sometimes you gotta say, Kelsey, why do you spend so much time one-on-one with people? That's not a very scalable way of doing things. It's like, well, honestly, it doesn't start and end with me. So if I spend one-on-one time with people, they'll go on and teach other people how to behave and what the culture should look like. So I think everyone has to define the culture for themselves, participate in that culture, and at some point you may actually find yourself having to explain it.
Right, yeah, you met 10 people and it's just like, I mean, since you're also part of open source community, you have seen sometimes there are some hostility towards new users or some kind of colorful languages. So what is your advice, or that, because everybody's, as you said earlier, everybody's helping each other, you are not charging. So
honestly, I don't use that kind of language to anybody.
Right.
So that's just not my individual culture.
Right.
So I just don't go around doing that kind of thing. I find more I find more personal fulfillment in watching you smile. That's what I get out of it.
Right.
If I see you smile, it makes me smile. So that's the way I want to be. So I want to be around that. That's what I want around me. So if a new user comes, I want to see them smile first.
Okay.
And then when they win and they go on Twitter and say, yo, I'm winning. I see them shine. I got that promotion.
Right.
I got that job. I find value in that.
Yes.
So that's what I want to see. Now, maybe people have, they find value in like jokes or giving people tough love. That might be for them. I don't. That's too stressful for me personally.
It is, yeah.
Right? And I think there's a way you can break the ice and say, hey man, you know that commit wasn't that good. Come on now. And you joke with them. You say, hey, let's walk through this one. So there's a time where you can kind of introduce it and then say, hey, but also on the flip side, if you work with a lot of people, it can be draining.
Yeah, that's the whole
So I think
point.
as a new person, you gotta kind of respect the level of work that the people put in to be able to help you. So make sure you at least Google around. Make sure that you bang your head against the wall for a week or two. Sometimes is required, so that way you can actually put some skin in the game.
Right.
You can't just turn around and say, hey, someone owes me a response. If I see someone that said, hey, I've tried these 7 things, here's where I'm stuck, I find it much easier to go ahead and help them. So I think a lot of times for people that help millions of people, thousands of people, hundreds of people on a daily basis, having people that don't even try, sometimes the human part has to come out and say, hey, hold on, you're not even trying. So you want me to put in all this extra effort and you do 0? That's not gonna work.
Right.
So I think as a new person, make sure you understand that there are things you can do to make it easier on a person that has to onboard a lot of new people.
On the closing note, what is your advice to all those people who are watching this video, from the point of the open source community, how to encourage each other, how to work with each other, how to inspire each other, and create opportunities for everybody?
Be a better person. That's it. All this, I want to be the best programmer. I want to be the best speaker. Just be a better person, because everyone's starting at a different point. You could have been an asshole before. Doesn't mean you give up and continue to be an asshole. Once you recognize that you could just be a slightly better person, then tomorrow just be a better person. You know what I mean? So if you had a conflict with someone and you thought you were the person that caused the conflict, tomorrow learn how to apologize authentically and just be a better person. So everyone starts from somewhere. So if you're just learning to program and you get a little bit better the next day, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. If you just become a better person at whatever the time scale that works for you, at the end of the day, 5 years from now, you're probably gonna be very impressed when you go look in the mirror. So at the end of the day, all the advice, just be a better person. Make sure you understand what good means too.
Right.
You might need to check on what good means, but then work towards that, period. And don't be making excuses. There's no excuses required to be a better person.
Right.
Just do that, and that's all I have for that.
Yeah, that's an excellent. Just be a good human being. That's the baseline for every. Doesn't matter which industry you are.
Good
what
people make
yes.
good developers.
Yes.
Good people make good mentors. Good people make good politicians. Good people make good managers.
Yeah, civilizations, and all those things. Yeah, let's keep going up. Thank you, Kelsey, so much, for spending your time with me, and it was really a pleasure talking to a fellow open source user and advocate. Thank you. Thanks for watching, and I would also like to thank all my patrons. It's really amazing to see such great support around the new open source media property that I'm working on. Those who are not aware of it, please visit this link and support the open source work that I am doing. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to support me on Patreon. See you next time with another great interview. Bye for now.